Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ezrat Hashem, we're here, finishing off the day the yeshiva with Parashat Tazria. Parashat Tazria today started with the first Aliyah. It's in chapter Vayikra, in Sefer Vayikra, chapter 12. Chapter 12 in the first pasuk already. V'daber Hashem el Moshe lemor, daber bnei Yisrael lemor isha ki Tazria, a woman who gets pregnant and then she gives birth to a baby boy. So the Torah outlines that she will be remaining tameh for 7 days, and after that 33 days will be sitting in it's called Dmei Tahora, meaning a woman after the 7 days she goes to mikvah after birth, and for the next 33 days, even if she bleeds from Mekor Damea, from the place, she is not considered to be Tumah Mitumah, that for the husband is not allowed to touch her, and therefore for those 33 days. She is prohibited to going into Mishkan, even though it's the Dmei Tahora, it's the blood of, the Pasuk tells us it's the bleeding of purity, because after birth over here. So the Torah outlines for the boy. So 7 plus 33 days, right? And the 8th day we do Brit Milah, as known to us already. However, what happens if she gives birth to a girl? So same chapter, pasuk 5 starts. So the first 2 weeks of the birth, she will be remaining, Nida, for 2 weeks. Now, if you notice by the Jewish calendar, the Tuma days does not start the next day after the day itself. So let's say she gave birth at 5. Let's say today, Shkiat HaChama, sunset was 7:40 approximately. So 7:40, 7:41. So here in Hollywood. So if 7:45, she gives birth 7:35 or 30, so a few minutes before sunset. So now it's considered to be that day is gone already, a whole 1 day. So the 14th day starts actually from today, 7:35, and then 5 minutes later she's already in the second day, and according to the Jewish calendar of Tumah. So we're talking about the 14 days pass after giving birth. So all that blood that comes out, that makes her Tumah Nida. She has to go to purify herself. Goes to mikvah on the 14th day, on the 14th night, actually going to the 15th, right? And then she has 66 days of called aftershock, right? After, what do they call it? After the shock, aftershock. There is a what do you call that? Earthquake. There's aftershocks. Oh, yeah. So the same thing here. She has 14 days. It's called the Nida, and then 66 days at Dmei Tahora. Now. This is, however, then no longer this applies today to today's date, because we are all weak and our bodies are not the same. As in olden days, a woman would have a period actually for a second, where the blood would come out, and for 7 days, and after 7 days she would go to mikvah. Those are the times when everybody was healthy. However, since the weaknesses of the generations, we are no longer in that parasha. So therefore, today a regular woman, that she needs to go after birth, the first time she'll go to mikvah is about after 6 to 7 weeks. So now then the Torah outline tells us that Torah leben olebat tavi keves. Now after the purification, she should bring a lamb into the Beit HaMikdash, and she over there makes a atarat nedarim also, because every woman at birth swears that she will never give birth again. So this whole parsha that she has to go through this whole purification, that she brings a bird's offering in order to atone for the promise, a false promise that she made at birth. That's one of the things that we discuss here. Then chapter 13 interjects in the middle of the Aliyah. Pasuk Aleph says, "V'daber Hashem Moshe lemor ve'Aaron lemor." So Hashem is speaking to Moshe and Aaron. Adam ki yeh beor besaro se'et o sapachat. So now we're actually starting in this parasha. We will discuss a person who has a blemish, of a certain blemish that will make him impure. So now it's talking about it's inside the skin, different colors. It has to be bright white or coming out from the hair, Kohen, and the only person who could determine if the person is impure or pure, only a Kohen. So what we do is that Kohen sees him. The paragraph continues. If the Kohen impurified him, now there's certain concepts that the Torah discusses on certain ways that the Kohen will check and make sure that before he declares him anything, he has actually a right to lock him up for 7 days. This is where maybe the Rashaim of today's world, they have this called what do they call those people? They hide them and they tell them to stay 2 weeks in your house.
Quarantine.
The quarantine. So that's what happens here. Also, the Kohen would actually quarantine a person who is in doubt of having metzorah, who has metzorah is not a leprosy, even though that's what it's being used as, but it's not leprosy, but it's some sort of markings on his body that makes his skin drier. So the Kohen has no idea if it's really it or not. He has to check. Depends on the growth and how the outline, and that's how the Kohen will quarantine him for 7 days. But our Kohen, and the Kohen, the parsha ends off, the Aliyah ends off, where the Kohen sees him in 7 days. Now, what happened was that the Kohen locks him up for 7 days, as we said, in quarantine. He comes back after 7 days. What happens? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. He didn't move. Didn't move this way. Didn't move that way. What happens? The Torah prescribes him. He should lock him up second time. And now this is what we're talking about here. What is this whole quarantine all about? What does Hashem want from us? It's part of tshuva. A person should repent during the quarantine at that time, and Bezat Hashem get healed. Have a wonderful evening.